Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. The Shabbos, we have the privilege of reading Parshas Noach. Now, after Noach and his family and all the animals, everyone comes out of the ark, out of the teva, in which he was saved, miraculously, as the Ramban points out, the entire incident of the teva is a pure nace to begin with. Nevertheless, when he comes out, Hashem promises him that there are certain things that are going to be in place that are never going to stop. He says, Od kol yemei ha'aretz, for the rest of the days of the land, zera v'kotzir, seed time and harvest time, v'kor v'chom, and cold time and hot time, v'yom v'layla, and day and night lo yishbosu, shall never stop. All of these things are going to continue on. Now, we are under the impression that many times when we seek to back up the veracity of the Torah, sometimes, it's nice to have a nice scientific backing. Like, for instance, when it says in the Torah that there are only 4 animals that have one of the 2 kosher signs, the Torah itself said it 3,304 years ago. The Torah said only 4 animals have one of the 2 kosher signs. And for the last 3,000 years, people have been searching all over the world. They never found any other animal but these 4 that have only one of the 2 kosher signs. So it's great to have scientific backing. But the Chofetz Chaim says that rather than look at science to back up the Torah, the fact is the only way we know certain things in science is because the Torah said so. How do we know that there will be a day and a night? How do we know that the sun will always rise in the east and set in the west? How do we know that? Said the Chofetz Chaim, the way we know that there will always be a day and always be a night, and that the world will never end, is because the pasuk said so. Because Hashem said, "O kol yemei ha'aretz," always, from this point on, for all the days of the land, Yom v'layla lo yishbosu, day and night will never stop. The Chofetz Chaim said, rather than seek background from science to the Torah is giving the science background, and it's giving it the fact of promise that it will never end. The way we know it will never end is not because science says so, says the Chofetz Chaim, is because the Torah said so. This is a unique approach, which of course, over the 3,304 years of the history of the Jewish people from receiving the Torah, is eminently been displayed throughout all of the Midrashim, all of the Sfarim, all of the philosophies that have been written. The Torah is true, and when you need some backing of the facts of science, all you got to do is go to the Torah. The Torah will tell you whether or not this, in fact, will always be. It takes a certain amount of emunah and faith to know that when you take medicine, it's going to help you. How do you know? Maybe it won't. But we have the science to back it up. No, says the Torah. The Chofetz Chaim says, it says in the pasuk, "V'dapo yirape." Hashem said that you can heal. The science helps you heal, but only because the Torah says that the science can heal. The day and night will never stop because the Torah said there will never stop a day and a night. This is a bit of turning things on their head, but that's the emunah and the approach of the Torah ideology, that the Torah is the eternal word of the eternal one, Hashem, and consequently Parshas Noach, universal in its appeal, not just parochially for Klal Yisrael, but of course for Klal Yisrael, and certainly for all the world, day and night will never stop because the pasuk said so. That's the teaching of the Chofetz Chaim. What a great way to start the new month of Mar Cheshvan and to think about the Torah's veracity and our relationship to the truth of the Torah. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom, Umevarach, a wonderful good Shabbos.